Alright, we back with more of the Polygon Gamefreak interview about Pokemon Sword and Shield, and now we're going to be getting into the controversy of legacy Pokemon being addressed by the game developers. If you end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your friends, and if you missed my last video covering the Polygon interview, showing all of this other good stuff right here, then you can check that out in the description down below. But let's see what Gamefreak has to say. Obviously, there's been some criticism about not including all of the legacy Pokemon in the game. How much of that is related to the challenges of this already being a huge team, Polygon asking the good questions, and the staffing resources it would take, and how much of it was a creative decision that you know you'd have to get through eventually? I think it's fair to say that both are involved. I mean, in any design situation, resources and time are always a constraint on what you can do in a project, but at the same time, from a creative perspective, it's a part of a discussion we had at Gamefreak with Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. We came to the decision that at some point, we need to be able to prioritize new gameplay ideas. We need to be able to find a way to balance the right number of Pokemon and also introduce new ways for players to enjoy the game. New gameplay ideas to keep the series fresh and enjoyable far into the futures. Okay, side note, that Claritin ad is totally stalking me. I haven't done any browsing or any searches about allergy medication, but I mentioned on stream recently that I've been having allergy attacks for like the first time in 6 years, and now I'm getting served allergy ads. Google spying on us. I guess that's just the reality that we live in. Back to the Pokemon news. So this goes back to something that Game Freak also said recently. I believe it was with Game Informer. They said that by being able to reduce the amount of Pokemon in the decks, it means that they're able to do new gameplay ideas. And this doesn't necessarily only mean that by cutting their amount of work, they're going to be able to make more gameplay features. This also comes into the overall balance. That's something like the Pokathlon, that you have to reprogram Pokemon's stats. So if you want to make new gameplay features or game balance for competitive and stuff like that, it's easier to do it with a few hundred Pokemon instead of 1,000 Pokemon. So it just makes a far more enjoyable game, and I'm on board with that all the way. So, do you remember how long ago that this first occurred to you? That sense of, oh, we're going to have to draw the line sometime. And I think that's a great way of looking at it, because they're going to have to draw the line at some point. What about Generation 9, 10, 11, 1,300 Pokemon? You're telling me that you want 1,300 Pokemon inside of your games just cuz. Because that's the only argument right now, is just cuz. And also, it's not about catching them all. You haven't been able to catch them all in any Pokemon games since Generation 1. Having them all, sure, but you actually get to have them all in Generation 8 because of Pokemon Home. You don't catch anything that you already have from Pokemon Bank. So this isn't a catch 'em all, this isn't a national dex kind of argument. It just kind of keeps falling apart, but those are the strange times we live in with people just ignoring facts like that. I mean, from my perspective, it's always been in the back of my mind that at some point we're going to have to not include all the Pokemon. One of the things we tried this time around, and we don't have a lot of details to share, we're introducing a cloud service called Pokemon Home, and we really want to use that kind to expand the Pokemon world. Provide a place for players to be able to gather all of their Pokemon in one spot, do fun things, and also use it as a launching pad for different adventures and different games. So there was also like talk a while ago with all this Pokemon Home stuff and other interviews that Pokemon Home might communicate with more spin-off titles as well. So Pokemon Go, other spin-off games that'll probably be coming from the Nintendo Switch or maybe other mobile games, and then having it all come and communicate together. And Pokemon Let's Go is going to go from Pokemon Home into Pokemon Let's Go, and just kind of keeps on going on with all that nonsense. That people are treating it like Pokemon cut from Pokemon Sword and Shield are just dead. Which doesn't make any sense, because you can bring them over into Pokemon Home, and then it's like having them in Pokemon Bank, except in Pokemon Bank, they're more dead. They're more neglected, and in Pokemon Home, they actually have added functionality. You get to do fun things, and then there's going to be a launching point for different adventures and different games. Also, it's already been confirmed that all of the Pokemon will be available at some point. So you're not losing anything, and instead of having your Pokemon rot in Pokemon Bank, they get to be used in Pokemon Home. And also those Pokemon go rot in a PC in Pokemon Sword and Shield if the entire National Dex was used, because there's no way that anyone is going to be able to engage with all 1,000 Pokemon at that point. So yeah, as much as I know that people are tired of me talking about bring back National Dex, the toxicity still grows, it doesn't make any sense, but then we have videos like this, which is effectively, you're wrong, the video, but it gets even crazier. Like, this is what I wanted to make the video about. Did you see the Twitter challenge, make a Pokemon in 5 minutes? Yeah, I definitely saw it. I don't think people understand how big this is. This is huge, because what it means is that Gamefreak is listening. They know about everything that is going on inside of the Pokemon community. Like, that's another thing that you hear from these people, like, oh, Gamefreak is ignoring us, Gamefreak isn't listening. No, no, no. Bring Back National Dex got an official company response. You got the Pokemon Company, you got Gamefreak, you got Nintendo to directly respond to your outcry. They also know of all the little things that are going on. Most of the people watching this video, most of the people in the Pokemon community probably didn't even know that the make a Pokemon in 5 minutes thing even existed. I did a video on it, but didn't really get that many views because the general interest was kind of about it, and unless you saw it trending on Twitter for that brief moment, you probably didn't know anything about it. So they were on to all these little trends, they're on to all the little complaints, and then they respond accordingly, but since they're invalid for the most part, that's why we're not going to be seeing any major changes on it. So, I mean, it was interesting to see everyone doing that challenge, but Pokemon are definitely not things you can make in just 5 minutes, and that was the point of the 5-minute Pokemon challenge. Obviously, you know, it's not just the outward-facing appearance, you've got to make sure it's moves and everything, and then there's also the different systems and data that you have to create to make it work in the game. But yes, it was interesting to see, and it also goes against it, because people are like, oh yeah, you can just make a Pokemon in a day, and then you can have the entire National Dex by having all the Gamefreak staff work on it. No, not at all. What would be the quickest amount of time you think an actual Pokemon could be created in? Alright, so let's see where this 5-minute challenge goes. It definitely takes a decent amount of time. I'd say the fastest for coming up with an idea, actually implementing it, and completely having it in the game would be at least 3 months per character. So we have to take that with all of the new Pokemon inside Pokemon Sword and Shield, and we don't even know how many there are, but coming from the 90-minute gameplay reviews, it looks to be over 100. So all of these new Pokemon getting 3 months of work, but then also having to update the older Pokemon, because the biggest reason for the National Dex cut is game balance. So that means you have to relook at all the stats, you have to relook at all the movesets, you have to relook at all the other individual things, balancing, and then how it plays with all the other Pokemon, while also having to dedicate time to cutting the National Dex, which is also kind of a side effect of that, and then making it all work together while also updating the models, updating the Pokemon, increasing the animation expression and all that other good stuff, and just making it work. Because you can't just drop a Pokemon from 3DS into the Nintendo Switch. It hasn't been done. If it was as easy as all these bring back National Dex babies keep on saying, we would already see it in Pokemon Let's Go. We would have Pokemon Let's Go Johto as some kind of ROM hack or something, but we don't have that. And the fun thing about Pokemon Let's Go is that it used a modified Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon engine. Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be a completely different engine, so there's going to be a lot of other problems on top of that. Also making Dynamax work, that other kind of balance. So that's like 3 months from scratch, and then still at least a month of work or more for an already existing character. Having them all move in parallel. It's not just creating that outward appearance of Pokemon, you've got to make sure that you build the model, make sure everything is within the limits for the polygons, rig it with all the bones and This is Omori. Livid, I feel. Or, not livid, but at least very upset with the stupidity that he has seen with what people are trying to make out about, oh yeah, they had enough time to make it. Because anyone with the slightest understanding of game design would know that that's complete nonsense. I took 2 years of game design. I took 3D modeling over programming because code scares me. But here, he's just saying everything that has to go into it. Have them all create the different animations, review those to make sure they still match the idea, and then eventually put into the game, make sure that everything works, so it's definitely an involved process. And that's the thing about coding and making games and stuff, is that things are gonna break. Even though you might have the rig just right, and everything looking perfect, and you're matching it up with the move animations, it could just go wrong, and that's going to take a lot of debugging time. That's going to take a lot of extra work to make sure the Pokemon is going to work perfectly under every possible position that's going to be put under, and then you have to adjust and make adjustments from there, while also making sure your model works. And that also, that's new Pokemon and old Pokemon, because again, when just dropping everything into the Switch, it's not going to work perfectly, especially under a new engine. So we have the bonus. Finish, I have some specific questions from others from the Polygon staff. Why is Farfetch getting an evolution now? That's a great question, but we kind of already had this answer from Eurogamer, Game Informer, and stuff like that. So the Galar region is the inspiration is actually the UK. We spent a lot of time researching and kind of referring to different things in the UK, and I spent time there. One of the things I remember noticing were that the leeks that they sell in the UK are much bigger and thicker than the ones in Japan. Now in the other interview, they talked about it as like a spring onion, so yeah, just like the little one. But then when you actually look at a strong, hardy leek that we're more traditionally accustomed to, they saw that and they were like, yo, we got the leek duck. He's going to be great in Galar. I guess the design evolved from there. Also, when it comes to designing a Pokemon, there's a lot of time that goes into planning and selecting the Pokemon. That they don't just like drop a sketch and go, all right, let's flesh them out. There was also information that said like 80% of Pokemon that are concepted don't make it to the finalized design. So there's a lot of work that goes into that. We've seen this from James Turner as well, that he finalized the design on Bruxish while not designing the Pokemon himself. So there's a lot of reviewing and a lot of work that goes into that, and then you have to concept art it, and then you have to model it, and then you have to do all the other things. It isn't just done. You know, I like that they're just kind of rambunctious and they're in the way, and they're pretty meme-worthy, but they're also not as charming as Team Skull, and a lot of people just think they're too in the way. We're just going to see what they have to say. So one theme is Pokemon Sword and Shield with the Galar region is that Pokemon battles are really like a sport that's widely enjoyed as entertainment from the region. Similar to how you have soccer teams that have huge fan followings, you'll see there's a lot of fans and supporters for different gyms that are in that region. The idea was that there's this group, similar to how you see followings of idols in Japan. They're really backing this very specific trainer, Marnie, and they want to support her and make sure she's the champion. Alright, I like that they're actually comparing it more to a Japanese culture than just sports and stuff like that, and with the idols and all like the creepy fans, so that they are representing that. Like, you're going to get those creepy fans. They're not necessarily bad or malicious. They mean well because they want to see like the person they idolize doing the best, but then that means they can kind of take it too far, either against the rivals or over supporting the person that they're following. But also I think we see this when Marnie has to step in, and like we've seen this in trailer with her reveal, Marnie has to step in and be like, calm down guys, and then they're like, yes, I'm sorry, don't get mad at us, we were just trying to show our loyalty, you know. So it's gonna be really fun to see those interactions. I think they're going to kind of grow on us, but the designs aren't the most flattering, which I guess also kind of shows how those types of people usually are in their overzealousness and what it attracts. Interesting. What about the idea to develop version-specific gym leaders? Where'd that come from? This also comes back to the whole idea of Pokemon battles in the Galar region being a sport. And we also saw this with like that misunderstanding between the 18 gyms and stuff. There's major and minor leagues. They wanted to kind of represent that, and they just want to show that, you know, every type, every gym leader, everything is well respected and stuff like that. So there'd be 18 gyms in a region total, only 8 of those in either game are the major league, and then you challenge them as part of your gym challenge. So we had this idea, maybe different types would actually be in these 2 different games. And I really like how it's just kind of this spontaneous idea. You know, if someone didn't spitball that, we might not have it inside the games, and it's a feature that everyone didn't know that they wanted. And did the reaction to Popplio influence Sobble? I wouldn't say it was influenced by Popplio, but the direction we really took with the starters was treating them as a kind of group or set. We wanted to give them all unique personalities as if they were a group. Sobble is more the kind, shy, timid one, and then Scorbunny energetic, and then Grookey is kind of the mood maker and the leader of the group. Keeps the group together, wanted to give them their own unique personalities, and that's going to be the end of the interview. We've also seen this with the individual videos about Sobble, Scorbunny, and Grookey that Game Informer did, and they're effectively saying the same things. You know, we got the sad one, we got the mood maker, we got the energetic one, and they said that it's going to mean more, that when we make it through the Galar region, when we get deep into the games, when we see their evolutions, we're going to understand how they perfectly fit and how they make sense for Galar. So that's going to be a really cool thing. We have information about their evolutions. Those puzzle pieces are kind of coming together, and then we're really going to feel it when the games come out. And it looked like, I wonder where that like Popplio influence came from. Was it like everyone hated on Popplio, so Sobble is the sad Popplio response in a way? But Sobble just kind of happened. So apparently like a woman that worked at Gamefreak made Sobble, and it was kind of inspired by a Japanese cultural idea that something can be so sad and you take pity on it in a cute way. That also turned out to be a global thing. You know, a lot of people picking up Sobble, they either see it as adorable, or they just want it to have a friend, or they want to make it the best it can be. So there's a lot of like encouragement there, or also people just relate to it, like, yeah, I'm sad, and I retweet all those like depression comics and memes and stuff, you know, self-care and whatnot. Sobble is my spirit animal. let's be sad together, and maybe we'll pull ourselves together through all of our adventures. There's a lot of different reasons to pick Sobble. There's a lot of different reasons to pick any of the characters, and a big thing they're saying is if you like the personality of the Pokemon, of the starter Pokemon, you should choose it over the design, because that's going to be the most important element into its evolutions. So a lot of really cool stuff, and then just crazy things overall, like 3 months to make a Pokemon, and then all of the other information into what goes into making a Pokemon that was, you know, it's common sense. Like, these are things that make sense when you hear them. They don't need to be explicitly expressed by Gamefreak, and also anyone with a basic understanding of game design would know this anyways. But at least it cuts through the lies, misinformation, and ignorance that's tearing apart the community, but those people are idiots, and they're not going to care about the facts anyways. So I guess we're just going to see what happens when Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out, or the next time we get some information. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.